and welcome to this webinar. This is a collaboration between Genially, the online tool that allows you to create interactive content, which is developed by the startup of the same name, and CyberClick, a technology company specialized in digital marketing, strategy development, and optimization of online advertising campaigns. Today, we are going to talk about a process that is even more relevant nowadays: digital transformation, with a focus on communication. As you know, we are always happy to have live interventions. So if you have any questions, queries, comments, please do write them in the chat, where our team is going to be more than happy to help. I really hope you enjoy the session. If you like it, please give us a like in the video. And you can also, if you haven't done so, subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all our webinars and more interesting comments. So now, do you want to know everything about digital transformation and interactive digital communication? Let's get started. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make this full screen, and we are going to get started. Today, we'll talk about what digital transformation is and how it can help us to improve the way we communicate and engage with our customers. To do this, we will discover tips to help us face this change with interactive visual communication. In addition, we will see what tools we can use to achieve a successful digital transformation, including a hands-on demo portion that is sure to be very useful to you. Finally, we have a gift for everyone who sees us live, a discount code for your Genially premium plan. As a reminder, just by signing up for the webinar, you have been entered into a drawing for a totally free premium plan. If you haven't signed up yet, you can still do so using the link that will be posted in the chat. Let's go. So what is digital transformation? In recent years, we have moved some way out of a way of working and communicating from analog to digital. For example, think about letters. Today, we barely send letters on a regular basis. Instead, we use email. The last few months have further accelerated the situation, taking a major turn to meet the real needs of the day-to-day life of companies, freelancers, and really all professionals and their clients. This convention has led to a process of digitalization which, thanks to technology, new organizational and business models emerge, creating opportunities unthinkable a few years ago. This is where digital transformation, which is the consequence of this situation, occurs. Therefore, we can define digital transformation as a social and economic change, a consequence of the use of digital technologies. We can even talk about a move towards continuous improvement of a particular process through the use of technology. In this webinar, we will focus on the communication side of it. You may be wondering why we should transform the way we communicate or engage with our clients. Digital transformation is so relevant today that, as one of the latest reports by McKinsey, a global strategy consultancy, shows, virtually all companies, whether startups or more traditional businesses, are currently adapting and seeking business models that achieve a greater digital presence. Why are we doing this? Why should you digitally transform your business? Why change the way we communicate and engage with our audience? The main reason is because we must adapt to the changing needs of our clientele or our audience. Our audience has obviously changed rapidly in recent years. Now we are faced with demanding customers who seek the personalization of services, are curious, investigate what interests them, and also hope to find good results and immediate satisfaction. Therefore, it is time to make our audience, our clientele, the protagonists so that we can understand their point of view and their needs, what is known in marketing as putting users at the center of communication. In this way, we will be able to make better decisions and minimize risk while optimizing our time and resources. This will allow us to drive innovation and productivity while providing better solutions and experiences to our audience. These motivators are of particular relevance when we are freelancers. If we are responsible for our tasks, revenues, and invoices, being able to give ourselves visibility and to interact effectively with our own network of contacts is crucial in order to get closer to those customers who will bring us value and to whom we hope to bring value to thanks to our product or service. Let's take advantage of the current situation to make the leap to new formats. Let's make changes, adapt, and above all, improve the way we face reality. It is time to adapt our actions to the digital standards of the new era. Sounds great, doesn't it? But where do we start? So how can I transform my business communication digitally? According to a study published by the Boston Consulting Group, BCG, commissioned by Google, having a digital marketing strategy can mean a revenue increase to up to 20%, while costs are reduced up to 30%. Given this information, without a doubt, one of the first sectors to address digital transformation is marketing and therefore communication. If we seek to digitally transform our businesses, we must start communicating differently. What does this mean? Well, it means taking the leap to interactive visual communication, a strategy which we can captivate our audience. Let's look at some tips to do it in a simple way. Our tip number one is communicate through stories. People are narrative beings, and we look for patterns. That is, in the face of chaos, we tend to create order through the use of stories, and we are predisposed to the consumption of these stories. The reason we like stories so much is that those narratives provoke emotions. Neuroscience tells us to interactive fast about this. It tells us that when we hear a story, our brains light up like a Christmas tree. However, if we hear only data, only a small part of the cerebral cortex is stimulated. That is, we can hear data, but we can only truly feel the stories. It also tells us that 95% of our emotions or learning happen before we are even aware of it. Funny, isn't it? So why do we continue to focus all our efforts on those rational messages that only affect the other 5% of our emotional learning? Why do we keep giving data and figures that not only don't excite, but actually bore us? The brain needs to get excited to learn, to acquire new information, to remember. So it's time to say goodbye to boring stories and to put into practice another way of communicating by applying storytelling. Take a positive approach. Did you know that fun, positive experiences in general increase the degree of memorability? This is the case partly thanks to dopamine. Everything that causes pleasure, beauty, fun, food, all of this releases dopamine into our brains. It is important to us because without it, we wouldn't feel curious or motivated. This means that we tend to remember the positive more and forget what is more negative for us. Therefore, our advice is that you show a fun and positive side to make your message more meaningful. Visuals are key. When you have your narrative ready with a positive approach, it's time to communicate it. Keep in mind that 80% of the information we process comes to us through sight. Our brain is biologically prepared to process visual content. Visual language is the only language besides music that can be understood by all kinds of people. Everyone is able to come to understand an iconic image. Therefore, it is essential to take visual language into account when communicating. Let's take advantage of human nature by adding visual resources to our stories to make a greater impact. If, moreover, these resources are animated, we will give added value to everything we create. Animation will help improve people's memory of our content up to 42%. It is perfect for arranging our ideas in order of importance and keeping our audience focused on and remember the reality important concepts. Interact. However, even when the content is visual, there may come a time where it goes unnoticed, when it joins the saturation of current content. Consider, for example, what do you usually do while watching a series or show on your TV or laptop? How often do you end up on your phone at the same time? This happens because we love being part of communication. That's why we have to get our audience from watching to acting. How? By creating interactive digital content which the audience can relate it with. That is, you can touch, interact, play with the information. It is a challenge or gives answers. In short, the content is alive. Why? Because that way interactivity will help make our content memorable, motivating, and easier to remember. Lastly, create a content strategy. If we want to communicate in a non-intrusive way with users and to accompany them during the global purchasing process, we can opt for inbound marketing. In this sense, a content and communication strategy is key to success. As David Thomas, CEO and founder of Cyberclick says, creating for the sake of creating is useless. There must be a goal behind all our content. We must fully understand the consumer's journey, in what moment they find themselves, and what we should offer them at any moment. Every message we send to the potential customer must have an intention and nurture the user, so when they get closer and closer to the decision to purchase. So now we will discuss some tools for digital transformation. If we are in the process of digital transformation, developing an inbound marketing strategy will help us to improve our recruitment, conversion, sales, and loyalty processes. We have to understand all parts of the process in order to adapt our content to each moment a user faces in the form of a user journey. In this sense, we can make use of a series of tools that will help us with communication in a digital transformation. Airtable allows us to create databases to organize tasks in a visual and intuitive way with our entire team. We can organize ideas, projects, and much more, increasing our productivity in a very simple and efficient way. Notion is a management and organizational tool that is based on the idea of a super versatile digital notebook. We can use it to create task lists, organize using Kanban, record meeting notes, create data rooms, and even create our own CRM, all collaboratively. You may already use Slack. It's one of the main solutions to communicate in real time with your team. Create communication channels, share files, make video calls, all in one place. And if there's a versatile tool, it is Genially. It allows us to create a whole new dimension of content full of interactivity, animation, and integration with different platforms, without the need for design or programming knowledge. In Genially, you'll find more than 1,000 ready-to-use templates made to unleash communication. So, what content will help me with my digital transformation? We've seen great tools, but what kind of content can we use regularly? We're going to show you. Let's see how we can make our creations captivate, enchant, and also be accessible from anywhere. We're learning what kind of content to use in each phase of our customers' or users' journey. So we are going to go to our editor. What we are going to do with Genially now is to create a vertical infographic about the customer's journey. Once you have registered in Genially for free and you are logged in, you will access this creation panel. As you know, we have several categories of templates to choose from. So this time we are going to work with Timeline Pro Vertical. I could find it directly in the category that the relevant category, but to make it easier, I'm going to use the search tool in my panel, and it is this infographic here. Before moving to the editor, we can preview the template to check the animation and the interaction that comes in it as default. And if we like it, as it is the case, we are going to click and use this template. If the template had more than one page, here is where we would be able to select the pages that we want to use. Okay, what is a webinar without a technical problem? So Let's get the panel back on. We are going to go to create Genially, and we are going to search for the template again. As we said, it was called Timeline Pro Vertical. As you see, the search tool will show us anything that may be relevant to the hashtags to us. And we are going to click again. And this time, hopefully, it's going to get through. Wonderful. So as it loads, what I suggest and I will recommend you to do is to have all the content that you're going to use in your creation in another document. The way that we are transmitting the webinar, you won't be able to see it, but I do have such a document with all my content in there. I'm going to make this a bit bigger as well so that you can follow what I'm doing. And as we were saying, that's my template with all the content in there. We have nowadays over 1,000 templates that you can choose. So the first thing that we will do is to name my file. And this will help me later on to find it on the panel, and it will help my audience to identify what it's about when they find it, and I share it with them. But this is good practice, not only in Genially, but I would say in any digital tool that you use, is just name your files in there. So having done so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove those elements that I'm not going to use. So I'm going to multi-select the years, because as you know, we are not going to be doing like a timeline as such. Once they are selected, I can just press back button or click on the delete button on the left corner of my editor, and they are gone. And now what we are going to be doing is just adding my text about the 4 phases of this customer journey. So I'm going to start with my first title. So the first part will be the recruitment phase, which is the stage where we want to attract traffic or make strangers or people that doesn't know us become visitors to our websites. So I'm going to take this title and just paste it in the first part of my infographic. And as we were saying, we want to attract traffic, so that's what I'm going to use as my subtitle. There we go. And here now I'm going to use this button to add interactive content. And what I'm going to add in there is the ways that we can achieve this step of the process. So when I click in any of the elements, you will see that there's a few buttons that come up. The button for interactivity is the little hand that is pressing a button itself. If it's blue, it means that it already has something in it. And in our templates, it's frequent that we find that they've already preloaded to make it easier for us to work on. I'm going to keep the interactivity that it has as default, which is the tooltip. That means that whatever I add in here, as soon as my audience hovers with the mouse on top of the element, this will pop up. They don't need to click, it just will come up. So I'm going to remove everything that is here by pressing clean content and just paste the content that I want to add. So as we were saying, some of the actions that we can take can be blog articles, we can use in-depth guides, video tutorials, podcasts, etc., to make sure that we succeed in this recruitment phase. The second step is going to be the conversion phase, which is where we would like our visitors to leave their data so that we can use it as a lead. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to use a landing page, which is a page especially designed to collect this data. As you see, I can just paste the text in here. And as the purpose to this step is to generate leads, that's what I'm going to write as my subtitle. Remember, if I click 3 times, it will highlight all the text in the box, which makes it a bit easier. Same step here, I'm going to go and add my interactivity. So some of the things we can do in this step will be webinars, there will be examples or samples or trials of our product, as well as testimonies and case studies. So let's clean up and add my content here. Our step number 3 will be the sell phase, when we already have the contact details and have a relationship with our leads. So we nurture the consumer with value content to bring them close to purchase decision. So this process is also called lead nurturing. So I'm going to go ahead and add the title here. And then I'm going to add my subtitle, which is going to be nurture with value content. And as you see, this text box is, the text is too big for the text box that we have. So it's coming out of my canvas on this side. In order to make sure that the text can be seen once I publish my content, I need to change the size. And I can do that in 2 ways. One of the things, I can just add a new line. And we have it here. And I can just drag the box if I want to. That's the 2 ways I have. I can add a line or just change the size of my text box. And we are going to go ahead and add the info here. And we have one last step that will be the loyalty phase. That's where our relationship with the customer obviously doesn't end with the purchase. So we work on our loyalty for 2 reasons. So they recommend us to other customers, and also they purchase the services again. As we know, it's always easier with returning customers because there's knowledge and trust on the brand. So we are going to name this recommendations and conversion. As you see, we have the same issue as the subtitle before. So I'm going to grab this box, make it a bit smaller, and then just drag it up so that it is in the right place. And lastly, I'm going to add the examples of what we can do to achieve this step. So we can have exclusive products made for our customers, or we can have a community where they can share ideas, they can ask questions, etc., as well as the celebration of special dates like Black Friday, even the birthday of our customers, anything that makes them feel special, etc. So that will be the text in our customer journey. And as you see, we have our 4 steps here. And we've done that really easily. Now, what I would like to do is we are going to change the logo so that we have the logo of CyberClick. And I'm going to do that by replacing the image that already is here. So I'm going to find it here. I'm going to look in my computer, and I'm going to find the file that I need. We cannot see it here because it's white, but I know that it's there, so I'm going to place it. There we go. Next, we are going to add the logo of Genially, same way, but instead of looking in my computer, I'm going to find it in the illustrations. I know that the logo of Genially is here, so I'm going to do a search, find it, and replace it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a bit bigger so that it matches the side of the logo on the other side, and that's quite easy. You just have to drag one of the corners. In order to do that, you see that the magnetic guides will help us to place it wherever is needed. Now I am going to add the title of my creation. It is Inbound Marketing. And all this information it has been shared with us by the CEO of CyberClick, David Thomas. So I'm going to quote my source. And to do that, I'm going to use the little speech bubble here. And I'm going to use the interactivity. Remember how previously in the info button, this button was already purple? In this case, because there's nothing in there, it is white, and I have to decide which type of interactivity I'm going to use. Since I have tooltips all around, I'm going to go ahead and choose the same one. And I'm just going to add my text in there. And lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the link to the article where this information comes from. So the article is going to be shared with you as well in the chat so that you can have a look and obtain more information. And what I can do here is when I add my interactivity, I'm going to choose a type of interactivity as a link, and this will give me the choice of whether that the link opens in a new tab. That is, my creation will still open for my audience, and they will go elsewhere to find this information, or I can make it that it opens replacing the Genially. So in this case, I'm going to choose it for it to be open in a new tab. So now I have my content already, but I would like to change the images so they match a little bit more the text that I have in my titles and info. So this is really easy to do as well. And to do so, I'm going to select the image, I'm going to click replace, and I'm going to find my images in one of the image banks or photo banks that we have integrated in Genially. So in this case, I'm going to use Unsplash. And I'm going to find this picture. And as you see, it doesn't matter the size of the picture, it's going to match it with the size of the position. I can, if I want to, move it a little bit so that I center it however I want to. And if I wanted to, I could also reduce it. It is always going to match the frame that is already in my creation. So in this case, I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to do the same in the rest of the pictures. So I'm going to choose this one. This one. And for this one, I am also going to use Unsplash, but I'm going to do a search for keywords that I can find the image that interests me the most. Wonderful. So I've got my pictures, I've got my text, I've got my interactive content. What I would like to do now, because I think that even although the colors are beautiful, may not match that well, and they are not as striking as I would like to be, I'm going to change the color of my creation. And to do that, I'm going to use a new functionality that is available, which is called document colors. Document colors allows me to set different elements and link them to a particular color, so that if in the future I would like to change the color scheme of my creation, I can do that easily. It is also very useful if we have creations with many pages, or if I want to use the same creation, copy it, and change the color in the future. So I'm going to open my menu here. And as you will see, it appears a few palettes and also the option for me to personalize, customize my colors. So I'm going to insert my primary color, which I got the hex codes here. And I'm going to add them. So the first color we have chosen is this reddish color. Now I'm going to go for the secondary color. Which is a complementary color of that one. And now for my tertiary color, we are going to get a contrast. There we go. Now what I need to do is I need to link each one of these objects, elements, text to one of these colors. I'm going to make it smaller so that I can do everything in one go. So I'm going to start with my main titles. I'm going to go to the menu. And as you see, I have my document colors now here. So I'm going to choose the primary one. Same thing for my buttons. I'm going to go with my secondary color for the subtitles. And for these elements, maybe I've done it too small. Okay, so this one kind of ran away. I'm going to do it. Perfect. And lastly, I'm going to go for my title for the accent color and also for the speech bubble and the link. There we go. So far, it looks like we've just done what you've always done before, but I'm going to show you, oops, this didn't get, let's change it. So I'm going to show you what will happen if I were to choose to change the whole color of my document. So if I go back to the panel and I click in any of these palettes, as you see, it changes all my elements in one just click. And I'm going to go back because I would like to keep the colors we've chosen for this creation. There we go. And to finish, the last thing I would like to do is to change the background color. Even although with these new colors in the title, it looks a little bit more noticeable, I think it will be better if we had a different background. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead, find my hex for my canvas, and click on the color selector. There we go. So that is how my infographic will look like. As you see, I'll have a look at my preview. And that's the content created very quickly and easily. So I'm going to publish it and I will share it in the chat in a sec. I will be sharing this with you in a second. As you see with this general outline, we are ready to start preparing our inbound marketing strategy. So as I was mentioning before, if you want more information about this article that we are going to share the link in the chat with, as well as the infographic, which I will share with you in a minute. So if you are watching us live and you have not yet done so, you can ask your questions in the chat. And if you are watching the recorded webinar later, you can ask questions in our social network with the hashtag Ask Genially. So I'm going to come back to my creation here, and I'm going to make it full screen. Okay, so now is your turn. So we have a little something for you. So we hope that you've enjoyed this webinar where we learn how to improve the communication in the digital transformation process and how Genially is a great tool to do that. We have a prize draw with all the people that have registered for the webinar. If you haven't done so yet, you will have the link in the chat, so you can still go in and put your name down for this prize. So people will be able to win a Pro Plan, and we will do the draw and send an email to the winners. If you haven't, don't win, is if you enter in the draw but you don't get the prize, don't worry, because you can still get 20% of your Pro Plan if you're a user that still don't have a premium plan. So you should use it in the next few days. It's only active for a few days from now. So if you're interested, you can just go ahead and get your Pro Plan with it. So I don't know if there's any questions from the public. I believe that most of them had been answered by our team. So I'm going to okay, so I believe there's no questions to answer at the moment. Wonderful. So if you get any questions once we go and you decide that there's something that you would like to ask, but you didn't have the chance, or you are watching the webinar recorded, remember that you can go in any of our social networks and just ask us with this hashtag as Genially, and we will be able to answer you there. You also can continue to learn more in our help center and also in the Genially Academy. And that's all. That's the end of the webinar for now. So if you enjoyed, just please give us a like and remember to subscribe to our channel. So if you haven't done so that you can keep up to date with our webinars and the rest of our content. So we'll see you in the next edition. So have a wonderful day.